All right, I'm out here at Waterfront Park in Trenton, New Jersey, speaking with New Hampshire Fisher Cats manager Sal Fasano. Sal, the Fisher Cats are off to quite a good start, 11-7 record thus far. What have been some of the biggest positives thus far in the early going for New Hampshire?
Well, I think the thing that I'm most proud of this team so far is, we've been down in a few games, 5 or so, that we came back in either the 8th or 9th inning and 10th inning to win. So I think the lack of quit that this team has obviously is awesome, and they're young and they're energetic, so that's a real good positive sign for our fielders. So that's what we've seen so far.
This Fisher Cats club has some pretty well-regarded prospects like Echeverria, Travis Darnaud, Anthony Goes, McDade. Just some are performing well, some not as much. Can you give me some thoughts on guys like that have high expectations with their ups and downs in the early going?
Well, I think it's the quality of the swings that they're taking. Whether you get hits or not really isn't conducive to development or not. And I think, like Anthony Ghost, for instance, obviously his average isn't where he thinks it should be, but he's taking good swings, he's making quality passes, he's hitting the ball hard, he's just got no hits. And you take a guy like McDade or Sierra, where they're taking good swings and they're getting the hits. So really, the dynamic of whether they get hits or not really isn't the issue. It's rather they're making good choices and taking good swings when they do decide to swing.
Around this area in central New Jersey, you're best known for your time with the Phillies. What were some of your fondest memories of playing with Philadelphia?
Oh, obviously, number one, the stadium is beautiful. The area is an old Italian neighborhood, and when you're an Italian guy, it's a great place to be around. And obviously, the fan club that got created in the right field corner up there, that was pretty tremendous. For a guy like me to have a fan club, it was pretty fun. So, we tried to take care of them, and they took care of me. So it was, those are some of the best memories that I have. The fans were tremendous.
Obviously, you're speaking of Sal's Pals, the fan group. Phillies fans start a lot of fan groups, Wolfpack, Sal's Pals, things like that. You're kind of regarded as an old-school guy by folks around the game, and I heard a unique manner of yours that you have in which you fill out your lineup card on a daily basis. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, believe it or not, I do it in old-school calligraphy. So I have my own font, and I have my own pens and my own ink, and I think I always think it's special when they see their name in the lineup, so I want to make it look special. I think a lot of managers sometimes take for granted how important the lineup is, but when you see your name and it's dressed up, it makes you feel good about yourself. You know that the manager cares about the lineup that he's putting out there, and hopefully they play with that kind of stuff.
Now, you were with the Lansing Lugnuts last year in Class A. You're here now, obviously, within the past few years even. You're not that far removed from your playing days yourself. At what point did you know that you would manage baseball, and is there anybody from your coaching past that coached you as a player that you kind of take pieces of their coaching repertoire from?
Well, I think everybody that I had contact with offered something, good, bad, indifferent. If you have your eyes and ears open in this game, you can always learn from somebody, and I've had some of the greats. I've had some of the best managers around, guys that probably you wouldn't even think of, guys like Buddy Bell and Art Howell. Those guys were just tremendous people, good player coaches, and the intensity of Buddy and the friendliness of Art. You really love to play for those guys. And then obviously when you have a guy like Sosha, Torrey, those guys are geniuses. And so you try to spend time with them and learn a little bit about, and then what you find out is it's really just about your relationship with the guys. Now obviously the correlation between my player, when I was a player, you handle players differently. Each pitcher is different, every position's player is different, and when you get older, it's really not so much of the mechanics parts of the game. It's about what kind of relationship, how can I reach this guy, how can I get him to do what I'm trying to get him to do. And so you take that, and my last few years, you start to think about how could I do that as a manager. Sorry, choked up right there. But you start to think about what you can do as a manager right there, and now I get an opportunity to apply it. So I think the last few years I really thought about what it would be like to be a manager, and then when I got the opportunity, I couldn't pass it up. So go ahead.
Speaking of going from one to the other, has the transition been as easy as you thought, or maybe not as easy?
Well, it's easy to a part if you really just respect the game. I'm not trying to, to redefine what baseball is. You're just trying to teach them to do the basic stuff and learn the game within the game a little bit, which isn't the basic stuff. That stuff's hard to teach. But when you respect the game and you love the game, you just want the game to be respected, and that's all I expect out of my players. So really, it's everything I expected. It's a little bit harder than I thought, but it's also it's very similar to my playing career, to where you can just really work with guys and get to know them.
In Lansing, I think you got to work with a pal of mine, Jesse Goldberg-Strassler. What can you tell me about Jesse and maybe just the relationship that you built with him last year in Lansing?
Well, it depends. You want me to bust his chops, or you want me
Everything
to
you
tell
got,
you the
bring it on.
truth? No, I love Jesse. Jesse was great. He was a good guy to work with the first year. He was very energetic, really cares about baseball. He's got a little bit of history in him, and it's really fun to work with. It's fun making fun of him every day. We would go back with the Italian and the Jew thing all the time, so it was pretty fun. And Jesse's got a good heart, and he means well for the players. And, I think he's do well in this game. As long as he stays and he keeps working hard, I think he's going to do great.
And speaking of the lug nuts, one last thing for you before I let you go, and thanks for taking the time. Of those lug nuts that you got to see on a daily basis last year, I'm sure you've got to, see them this year and through spring and things like that. Who are guys that you're confident from that lug nut squad last year that could definitely, in your opinion, play at the highest levels of baseball?
Well, there's two guys in particular. One is a catcher that we have. His name is Antonio Jimenez. We call him A.J. Jimenez. I think he's probably one of the best defensive catchers we have, if not one of the best defensive catchers around. We also have a center fielder by the name of Jay Marisnik. So if those two can continue to do what they're doing, I think the ceiling is very high for those guys. They can do a lot of special things. And we have some guys that, that can probably play in the big leagues. It's yet to be seen still, because when they play at the higher level, guys like, Ryan Goings, a guy like Brad Glenn, those guys are pretty good players. Whether they make it or not, I'm not sure, but I guarantee you Jimenez will be in the big leagues.